As veterans, we struggle to fit in. Taught to never let feelings win. Lost in a world full of fear and pain. We all have hung our heads in shame. When we look up, we see hands reaching out. There is so much support about. It comes from above and others around. Please take a hand and rise from the ground. Stand up and fight for your life. Walk away from negativity. Don't give in to strife. Show up for yourself. Find your voice. Keep moving forward. You have a choice. Give compassion for the child inside. Healing pain, let hope reside. Lost you will no longer be. Then you can help set others free. Now speak up and with us share the tools that make pain easy to bear. Advocate for others to lighten their load. Use your voice and join our show. On Coffee Talk with Brian and Marie, we heal out loud, PTSD to advocacy.
Hey, what's going on, friends and family? Thank you guys so much for joining us on another episode of Coffee Talk with Brian and Marie. How are we doing today, Marie?
It's been a week. Tomorrow is my dad's 1 year heavenly birthday. And yeah,
Been a
and my
year already.
mom,
Gosh.
I know it's crazy that it's a year already. And my mom came to visit me on Sunday, and so she's here with me, and it's been good. Also, dealing with some different emotions and stuff like that with everything. So up and down today, but today I am very exhausted, so I'm not going to have as much energy as I normally do.
Don't worry, I'll pump your ass up. That's usually what I do. Um,
Well, you'll pump my ego.
yeah, there you go. Something like that. Anyhow, shoot, it's been a wild week for me as well. God, it's like my daughter graduates UC San Diego, right? And then after she graduates UC San Diego, it's like I get a little nugget of all these little like things that have happened. So I guess I'll give you the series and how I find out. All right. So first, I find out that I'm a grandpa, and I'm like, "What?" My wife calls me, and she's like, "Michaela has been trying to get a hold of you," and I was like, "Oh shoot!" I didn't even know she was trying to get in touch with me. She had gone to the ER because she was like spotting or something, and because she's pregnant. I was like, "Oh my God." Well, this is how we find out that she's pregnant, is that she's at the ER. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So come to find out, she's just really early in her pregnancy. I think she was a little, I think it's the new pregnancy in her. She just overly, I think, cautious. So I think she found out super early too. Like the girl had 5 pregnancy tests all lined up, and they all like say pregnant, and I mean 2 lines. It's like, how many do you need to know you're for sure pregnant? And she's still taking them. It's like, girl. So I don't know. It's funny. I knew from the time that little girl was a baby that she's going to be a mom, and that she always loved babies. So it is
That's cute.
it is really cool to see. And then they were over for dinner the other night, and mind you, she's with a Marine, right? Which she said she never would be with a Marine, and he just actually got out. So he's at that level of transitioning and trying
Are
to
we going to
figure it
have him
all
on our
out.
show?
I'm trying to get them on, but these
Awesome.
young guys, they're just, kind of too cool for school.
Yeah.
Um, they want to act like they weren't in or something. And then like later on, they'll have all the hats, tattoos, and shit like that. So, um,
Oh, looking in the mirror, huh?
yeah. So they're over here for dinner, and my daughter's like, I got something I got to tell you guys, and I'm kind of worried. I'm just like thinking at first, like, what is she gonna tell us? And she said, we're married. And I was like, what? You guys are married? Oh my gosh. So damn, these fools did some fucking courthouse marriage. Like, and they did this thing like last year, like September time frame, and no one knew. And he just did this whole, it seemed like he just did the Marine thing, right? Like, oh, a little extra BAH to get a house and all the whole mentality that goes behind, I think, what military guys do. I told him, I said, bro, you are like scripting out what happens when we go through this. And I'm just watching it from a bird's eye view now because he's, my son in law. And it feels weird to say that he's my son in law. I think that's the first time I've ever called him my son in law. But I literally just found all this stuff out, man. Like it just, after she graduates, like, boom, pregnant, boom, she's married. What? Holy shit. So, and now we're gonna be having a real wedding, and I think they're gonna wait till she's done being pregnant so the baby could be a part of it, but I don't know. So they're already technically married. Sounds like they're just doing the Marine thing.
Well, congrats, Grandpa.
Thanks. I guess it's like a shotgun grandpa, like finding out all this stuff. Like, oh wow, all of a sudden now I'm a grandpa and a father-in-law.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
yeah, wow. All right, so we'll go ahead and get on with our amazing show. We're gonna go ahead and turn it over to you, let you do your amazing poem. Then we'll go ahead and bring on our next guest. Super excited. All right, and floor's all yours.
Okay. All right, guys. I am glad to be here today. So, as I have been, getting closer on my dad's heavenly birthday and just kind of processing through even more layers, of resentments and frustrations, and I also have had some really amazing moments and some really good things. And the poem that I am going to read now, I cried, actually, like I cried my eyes out when I read it, because it's this anthem of, hey, I am still here, and just kind of this idea of saying, I'm here, I'm standing strong, and I've got my squad of angels on both sides of the veil that are helping me to get to this point. And so this poem is called I Am Still Here. I am still here. In spite of pain, I stand strong regardless of the voice in my brain. From a warrior's battle, I have been maimed, yet many footholds were reclaimed. So many times I wanted to let go, get some rest, give up the ghost, not wanting to grow. Too painful, doesn't matter. The fight's not worth it. Where is the sideline, wanting to watch and sit? Thoughts formed from trauma, a cage in my mind, no escape from ropes that bind. Peace my brain would not permit. Yet one more step past my self proclaimed limit. How did I get here? No, not alone. My squad of angels make themselves known. Hands outstretched, I cannot see, combined with living people around me, pushing and pulling, sharing the load, making sure I did not implode. Then, cut free from weights that were holding me back by God, who also protects from evil attack. The road is still long that I must travel. I am still here. I will not unravel, for I do not walk this path alone, and every single day the love around me has grown.
All right, thank you so much for another amazing poem. And yeah, imagine having your mom here this week. It like brings back a lot, of stuff in general, right? I mean,
Yes.
And even, just dealing with your mom, she's aging and stuff like that. And we have to watch our parents age and go through all the things that aging brings with it.
Yeah,
So
and she's losing her memory pretty quickly, and so it's been a journey.
yeah, it's a shame. That sucks. But let's go ahead and introduce our next guest.
Okay, so I am so excited about this next guest, and I am going to cry.
Oh, shoot, there we go.
This next guest has become a good friend of mine, Kevin. And a year ago, 2 days after my dad passed away, he had me on his show. And so it's very special that today, a day before the year anniversary, that we're interviewing him on our show. So
Wow.
Kevin is another podcaster. His podcast is called the One Moment Podcast. He is another fellow veteran. He is just a really good guy. He's had me on his show 3 times, and he is just such a huge support of my journey and has, again, just become a really good friend over the last year. And so I'm going to read his bio. Kevin Odom is a licensed clinical mental health counselor, addiction specialist, and certified supervisor in North Carolina. By the way, about a couple months ago, he went out to Washington to an event, and he came and stayed with my husband and I on his way through. And so he's just a good guy, just a really good guy. With 3.5 years in the U.S. Army National Guard as a diesel mechanic, he brings diverse ethical expertise to behavioral health quality assurance. At Novant Health's inpatient unit, he conducts clinical admissions, group therapy, case management, crisis de-escalation, family contracts, patient rights psychoeducation, and trafficking screening / referrals for undocumented immigrants. He also partners with interpreters for ORR mock training, leading family individual sessions, psychoeducation, and presentations. He has overseen budgeting, credentials, contracts, auditing, partnerships, outreach. I don't know what that is, and policy development, cultural competency, ethics, risk management. He is supervising clinicians on laws, ethics, rights, and topics like abuse reporting, substance use, and a bunch of other awesome stuff. I don't want to tell you everything because I want him to talk, but he trains entities. He also builds and trains teams to strengthen communities and business ties. He has expertise in case management, referrals, therapies, all sorts of amazing stuff. And he volunteers with the NAADAC, NBCC, and APNC. And he's a podcast host. So he's just an amazing guy. Kevin, come on up. Thank you for joining us.
Mr. Kevin, what's going on, brother?
How are y'all doing?
All right, man. Sounds like you're wearing a lot of hats these days, man. So quite the busy guy, I imagine. So we're excited to have you on the show. Get to learn a little bit about you, bro, where you grew up, what made you decide to join the military, a little bit of what your military experience was like. And then for sure, we want to start kind of talking a lot about how that transition was, what life was after military. Did it smack you in the face? Did you hit the ground running? Were you in between? We want to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly. Whatever you're willing to share, brother, the floor is completely yours, man. Well, we'll probably interrupt you a little bit.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
yeah.
A
So,
lot.
yeah, 80% yours, bro.
Yeah.
Right.
We're
Well,
so happy to have you here, Kevin. I'm
Absolutely.
so excited to see you. Thank you for coming.
It is a privilege and an honor being here, and I'm an open book. So whatever people want to ask, like I don't care. I mean, I have nothing to hide. I guess let's start at the very beginning. Then, born and raised in Hamlet, North Carolina. When I was coming along, and I tell my patients just as a joke, when I was coming along in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was like population 250, maybe 1.5 stoplights. And it was a very small town. If you blink, you might miss it on a map. Like it is, it's grown significantly since then. They've gotten a lot better with the economy down in Richmond County. It's still a complete and total disaster. But where I grew up at, it was on the dirt roads, 5 minutes from South Carolina state line. fast forward, through all of that stuff, I got into doing a lot of things during my teenage years, and I had a lot of fun. I ain't gonna lie, I had a lot of fun. But when I got tired of it, it was like, as I sit back and look at it, it was my first glimpse of desperation, but it didn't totally sit in. I knew I needed discipline, so I joined the military. What I know to be true now, the discipline I have now, is what actually I was needing and seeking for, but I was seeking for it in the military. And man, I had a lot of fun while I was in the military. Blew a lot of money, made a lot of money, partied a lot.
Yeah.
Party
We
complete.
know. I mean, it's our version of college. You know what I mean? So
Right. No, 100%. And that's exactly what it was, man. Look, look, the guys and I, we were during boot camp and AIT, I didn't do anything. I kept my nose clean. I enjoyed it. But when I came back and I was and left active duty orders the first time and came back to back home, my unit was in Laurinburg. Man, we would go out every weekend that we got together. We'd go out and party a lot. I mean, it was just one of those things because it's what we did. That's the only thing you do when you're off of duty. Go out, you drink. I mean, so eventually,
Well, at least those of us who got lost in our addictions. A lot of other people didn't do that, believe it or not. We met somebody the other day who I deployed with, and he never drank the
straight
whole
and
time he
narrow.
was in.
He said he was
Straight and narrow.
I
I'm
don't
like, yeah.
Apparently
understand.
that's there. I know. Apparently that's there. So we might not be, the everybody.
Hold up. Oh yeah, you know what's funny is actually, I know a little bit off, but I did know one guy that was completely like he went to church every Sunday. He carried a Bible around, and he was in the Marine Corps. He had it always in his cardinal pants pocket. And he was the only guy I knew that did not go out and get crazy drunk and everything else. He was also the most squared away guy too.
So that makes two.
It does happen. Yeah, and that makes two people in the entire military.
Right?
Yeah, I was like, I actually do know that unicorn.
Yeah. But okay, two people. I mean, you would have the only thing that would be different was the officers would go out with the officers, the sergeants, and everybody would go out with the sergeants, and you'd have people like me. We'd all travel to town, go from bar to bar to bar, to this to that, to this to that. I mean, and so one time I remember, I woke up. I didn't wake up. I came to. There's a difference. I came to in the middle of a hotel lobby, still in full uniform, and I didn't know where I was at. And my buddy, he had to come find me. So when we got back to the unit, it was locked down. Lottie-dottie, everybody was locked down, and everybody was sleeping. So I'm like, you know what? The hell with it. Let's wake everybody up.
Real quick, if we ever doubted that Kevin was in the military, the fact that he just said lottie dottie everybody, that kind of proves 100% he was. So for those of you non-veterans, that's how you tell. Just to hear if someone says lottie dottie everybody.
Right. Right. So whenever we got back to the unit, lottie-dottie, everybody was sleeping and there was no lights on, so we had to get in. So I looked at my buddy. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. It is what it is. So I started beating on the windows and on the doors and shit. Leadership did not like that too well. Next morning, I think after about 3-4 hours of sleep, you would think I would learn a lesson, but I didn't. So after about 3 or 4 hours of sleep, I had this big old sergeant. He was African American. He was funny as hell. I love him to death. He's a great dude, Sergeant Graham. And he was woke me up. Odom, get your ass up, Odom. A major pounding headache. And when I opened my eyes, he had a breathalyzer. I need you to blow in this, Odom.
Oh no.
Yeah, I completely flunked it. And I was under the age, of course. Yeah, it was a lot of craziness that happened when I was in.
What rank were you at this time? Like E2, E3 or something? Like
I think I was an E2 or E3. It was yeah. I was right there at it where if they had busted me down, it wouldn't have mattered anyways, type stuff. And so like it didn't even matter if they kept me at the same rank. It was one of those types. So it was E2 or
You were
E3.
just wilding out right away, huh, man? Like,
I mean,
woo, this is what it's like.
right? I'm telling you, look, that I don't know where I got the money from, how and how I was able to feed my addiction, but
Blowing that E2 money, living paycheck to paycheck, bro. Like it was gone the first week.
mhm.
You know,
Yeah,
it really, it's funny that you bring that up because it really is interesting. Because in the military, you make a decent amount, but it's not like you're not rich. But somehow those of us who are alcoholics, like we were able to
I will tell
really
you how
stretch
this
that.
works.
We
It's the
we were
tribe.
we
If you
were
guys are
really
living within the
able,
tribe, right?
yeah.
Because someone's blowing their money on a 30 pack, and then like Schmuckatelli's all out of money now. Hey, Johnson, we need you to go get a 30 pack, dog. So Johnson is getting 30 pack, and
Right.
Johnson
So
didn't
yeah,
want to go get a 30 pack, but everybody else told him he had to get a 30 pack.
so maybe that is how it went. Because I was like, yeah, we really stretched the money between the cigarettes and the alcohol
Oh,
and
cigarettes too.
doing whatever we
Yeah.
wanted to do. Like,
Oh, we
yeah,
were
Yeah.
smoking
okay.
fucking
Yeah,
cigarette
100.
after cigarette. I don't even think it would be we could even survive in today's cost, like with
Yeah.
how much that shit
No,
was.
shoot, no.
Dude, Iraq was
For like one
amazing.
cigarette, we used to buy it for a pack. You know what I mean? Like
So in Iraq, you could get a whole carton for $5 out there. I don't smoke anymore, and I am not
Oh.
encouraging smoking, as
I'll
you know,
tell you
and I'm
what,
not
though.
encouraging drinking. But there were ways that we were able
People
to
started
do it.
making money off of those buying those, and then they would start selling the individual packs to people. So if you learned how to play the game, you were getting free cigarettes. You just had to go buy the box and then sell.
Yeah. Sorry, I know we went kind of off topic there, but
No, look, everything y'all
I
were
saw a
saying.
squirrel and ran right after that bitch.
Look, I mean, look, you had people, sergeants who were making money off of the people that were below them. I mean, then you had other people who were, I guess you can say, not non-NCOs. I guess that's the term, right? Who were still making money off of the sergeants and the officers, like they were running the game on everybody. So you had the whole.
This is some prison, like we're doing the prison type things, man. I'm telling you that.
I'm
It's
telling
like
you.
college, prison. What you need, man? We out here fucking.
Yeah, look, the question or the thought is, we have it all. So if you want college, we got that over here. If you want prison, we got that over here. If you want jail, we got that.
oh, if you want a brothel, we got that over there.
Right?
Yeah, that's
Which ring do you want to set up?
Oh yeah, because we do have the fighting rings too. You got
Yeah,
that too.
Yeah, no, 100%. Look, and I heard many of war stories on that about the fighting rings out back.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh,
They set up a whole ring in when we were in Kuwait at Camp Commando in 2003. Before the war popped off, every Sunday they did like Sunday fights, and they would weigh the guys in. They'd put headgear on them and boxing gloves, and it would be Navy, Army, it would be UK guys. I mean, whoever was in Camp Commando got to fight. You just had to go in and weigh in, and you just fought against someone against your weight class.
We didn't do that kind of stuff. What we did was the combatives. Like they had major combatives tournaments, and like my old roommate Ronnie, she was in the combatives, and she held her own with guys and girls, and it was pretty awesome.
We also had the ones where it was like, all right, bro, let's go handle this in the hooch. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and then there was just a straight up brawl.
Hey Brian, guess what? Squirrel. We just went off on another
I
one.
know. We're doing it hard today, guys. Kevin keeps bringing up stories that are, that he's bringing the squirrel up, and then that bitch is running, and we're like, yeah. Stop bringing all the freaking squirrels out of the hat, dog.
I know, Kevin. You're a magician, and you're just like pulling them out of the hat.
He's just all these stories are like, we don't talk. We kind of always talk more of like the serious side. This is the fun side where I'm like, yeah, bro, this is where I wish we had more of these stories because we used to let loose, So.
Right. Right. No. Well, no, I mean, and everything y'all were saying is right, and it's humorous and it's funny because as I look back on it, it's funny as I mean, Lord have mercy. But when I put myself back in the moment, man, it just got completely and devastatingly worse.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, I was doing I at the end of all my whole military history there, I was doing cocaine while I was on unit premises. I was on the back of the damn truck having to connect stuff, you know, doing the cocaine. Like it got devastatingly worse.
Yeah, so you
And
just started really you just kept going down the spiral, right? Like it went from drinking and having fun to like maybe doing a line and then fucking it started being a habit where you're like now you're like
yeah,
instead of it just being after hours, I imagine it started being all hours, you know what I mean?
yeah,
It just sounds
100%.
like you kind of
100.
gradually started kind of falling down into that pit.
Oh,
Or did you
100%.
just slam like fall,
Oh,
free fall?
depending on one's perception. I mean, it really depends on one's perception. I mean, in the beginning, I didn't really, like I say, I knew I needed discipline, and I was already battling the addiction. So I thought military was a discipline I needed, so I joined it. Um, and it worked for a little while until it didn't work anymore, and then I was off to the races again. And so there were days, many days, where I'd show up drunk as hell and have to run 5 miles, for
Mhm.
PT. And I mean, and now of course that will sober you up, but like, you could say I slammed the ground, or you could say I slam dunked it, or whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter to me. Because I mean, it really fits. Um, I mean, there were moments where I didn't even show up for formation because I knew that my name would be luck of the draw and it'd be a drug test and I'm a felon. Like, and I mean, it got to that point where, I mean, it was just bad. I mean, it got bad, then it got worse, and it was just devastating.
So
And
it
then,
started playing a role in your performance as a soldier and everything else too, right? I mean, now you're missing formations. Now you're totally teetering on trouble. On a UA and all kinds of stuff starts to play you know.
yeah,
So
and
I've got a question for you. I know you're probably going to get into this, but so for me, when I was in Germany and I was having fun and kind of doing the same kind of crazy stuff, I didn't even realize how bad it had gotten until they put me in the army substance abuse program. And even then, I didn't think I had a problem. They had a problem. And so my question for you, and it took me another 10 years for me to realize that I was an alcoholic, but it just kept getting worse. So I guess my question is, at this point, when you're like avoiding, formations and this, that, and the other, did you realize that you had a problem, or was it you just avoiding getting in trouble?
I didn't realize I had a problem. At least I hadn't opened my eyes to the fact that
Mm.
that it was a problem. I mean, the only thing that the military offered me was to go see this damn therapist, and the therapist didn't agree with my need to smoke weed, and I didn't agree with her need for me not to smoke weed. That was the only thing we. So, I mean, I mean, just getting back to the basics here, right? Like, I really never got any help. I mean, the last time that I got help was, I done been to like 2 or 3 treatment programs, and so the last one I went to, it was Samaritan Colony out of Rockingham, and I told my Sergeant Tyson, I won't ever forget all of the leadership there, and they were like, "Oh, well, again, really, again." And average stat shows that it takes about approximately 7 to 9 rehabs before recovery kicks in. Right? That's average. Uh, and of course, I'm already facing at this point. I'm already on the downhill side of I'm waiting for it to be processed out, right? Because I mean, whenever you have 3 or 4 drug screens that are positive, hell for cocaine and whatever else, I don't even know. Um, I mean, it was just like, what else do you do? Do you advocate? Do you stop the process? Do you push forward with the process because you don't really know what's going to happen on the other side of that treatment program? Like, what all do you do? And when I came back, everybody was surprised. They were shocked. They were blown away. And I had this book that I carried with me all the time and everywhere. And I would be standing in formation with this book like it was my lifeline. Like it was my absolute lifeline. And my sergeant was like, Odom, you need to take the book out, put it on the table. I'm like, no, I'm good, baby. This book is me. It's saving my life. And I mean, it was just like, it was a complete disconnect. And then when when you try to talk to people, people were like, oh my God, like you're just so weird. And
Was that so? Just we're on the same page. Was that a specific recovery book?
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I had that one specific book that was about this thick, and I literally had it in my uniform pocket, and I showed up everywhere with it. Doesn't matter. Anywhere I went, they if they needed me to go work on a truck and go get with this, with this team over here, if they needed me to do this, if they sent me to brag, if they sent me to wherever, that book stayed in my pocket everywhere.
So you got sober while you were still in the military then?
Yeah,
awesome, dude. Awesome. What year was this?
2012.
Dude.
So was it
amazing? That is
was
awesome.
that hard, or did that was that a hard transition kind of like for you to go back and be different, or were you just you were just already good to go? Because now you obviously the clowns are still going to be doing the performances no matter what, so you're going to be around the circus and all that the whole time. I gotta imagine that you either something had to like totally make that stop in you, like where like I hit that bottom. I don't ever want to get back here again. I mean, was that whatever got you to that point, that ultimate thing where you're just like, dude, that scared you straight in a way?
What was your actual bottom?
Right.
My actual bottom was sitting on the back of, well, there was two of them, but it's one, but it was two events. I was sitting on the back of my mom's front porch smoking a cigarette one morning. And you ever saw a movie, how people die a movie, and it'll be like a movie film of different clips and events that comes across the screen, right? When people die in movies. And that's exactly what happened, except I'm alive. I'm sitting on the back porch smoking a cigarette, and I had every event that come across my life, and it was like, well, and then the last film was, okay, you're facing a dishonorable discharge. You're looking at this, you're looking at that, like you got nothing to show for yourself. What's going to happen? And I had all of these people in the military that had already disassociated themselves with me, and like I had nobody to help me. And then the one thing that happened is I met another man, and his name is Pat Hill, and I will never forget him because he told me my story. He didn't talk to me about me. He didn't prescribe any medications. He spoke to me, and he told me about me by talking about himself. And at that moment, that's when I knew deep inside that I was done, that I knew what my career was going to be. I knew everything. And that was while I was sitting at that last treatment program. And I mean, he would be teaching class, and he was one of the best, substance use therapists in the world, in my opinion here. He had some of the highest state exams, the highest scores on the national exam. Like he was phenomenal. I mean, he was a very intelligent guy. He knew what he was talking about. He'd be teaching class, and he would say, yeah, man, it ain't like we're trying to pull guns out on anybody anymore. And I'm like, damn, bro, I did that shit too. Like every time he would say something, I'd be like, bro, I did that shit. The fuck, dude, you did? Like the whole story, the whole experience. I'm like, wow. And before that moment, it was, oh, you need to do this. You need to do this. Oh, let's prescribe this. Hey, you don't need to do this. Hey, you need to quit smoking crack. You need to quit shooting needles. You need to quit doing this. You need to quit doing that. Like it was just all of that message right there. I mean, none of that worked. Even the military was telling me that you need to do this, But when I met him, it was the whole transformation. It was different. It was different.
And so, sorry to cut you off. I just want to really interject this part in here before we get too far and I forget this. But this is exactly why telling your story matters, right? Someone was telling you their story. That right there was enough for you to be like where it resonated, right? And that's why, like, we preach on this all the time about how important it is to tell your story, whether you think it's insignificant, whatever it may be. You never know who out there could be listening, and then that could change their entire trajectory. I know I've said that before on this show, but I mean, you are literally talking about this as an example, and it's a beautiful example of why it is important for people to tell their story when they feel comfortable enough to.
So this is the perfect time to share with us, and then we'll take a really quick break. But the perfect time to share. Brian and I would like to extend an invitation for people who may not feel comfortable to share their story on the podcast in person. We want you guys to be able to still share your story. So please send an email, marie@sliderbabe.com. Send us your story. Send us a poem. Send us something. You can send it anonymously, or you can put your name on it, and we will share your story for you. Because even if you're not as comfortable as Kevin is, or as Brian is, or as I am with coming on here and sharing your stories and your struggles, we want you to be able to share your story anyway, because you don't know who it's going to help. And hearing your story, when you share it out loud, even if it, you can't see that it's going to help someone else, it will help you. And I guarantee it. So please, please, please reach out to us, send us your story. Let us read your story for you. Kevin, this has been really awesome. Before we transition into, your new journey in your recovery, we're going to take a really quick minute break.
Yeah, we'll do our veteran showcase. And today we got lined up is Joe Allen Christie. He is a retiree out of the United States U.S. Air Force. But he is an amazing dude. I've had him on the show. Absolutely love the guy. He's out there making some amazing music. So go ahead and enjoy this. And remember, this is a disclaimer. Sometimes the songs don't come out exactly how they really sound. So don't hold them accountable to the sound that you're hearing on your end. If you want to hear them better, just go to their social medias and go listen to the songs if you like it, and just go give them a share. It's free 99. All right, so stand still, and here we go. We're going to disappear.
Stuck in this city 5 days a week, surrounded by streetlights and the folks I call sheep. Their only desire is to pass judgment on me for loving my country and the things that I eat. Over that mountain, got a small piece of land. It really ain't much, but a man understands. On the other side, it takes a real man, hunting and fishing, working the land. On the other side, I'm the best part of me. A hammer and a shotgun is all that I need. This 5-bedroom house in a damn HOA, a place I don't own if I don't do what they say. Talk about prison, it's the worst kind of hell. It's like paying the warden to be living in jail. In the city there's liars and government frauds. In the mountains I'm free and closer to God. On the other side, it takes a real man, hunting and fishing, working the land. On the other side, I'm the best part of me. A hammer and a shotgun is all that I need. From under their foot, there is no escape till we all stand together for the rights that God gave. On the other side, it takes a real man, hunting and fishing, working the land. On the other side, I'm the best part of me. A hammer and a shotgun is all that I need. Hey Brandon, I dare you, come tread on me. I'll show you the end of this AR-15. I'm not the type to go looking for a fight, but keep poking the bear. I'll show you my stripes. On the other side, I'm the best part of me. A hammer and a shotgun is all that I need.
All right. That right there was Joe Allen Christie, retired U.S. Air Force. Go give him a like, share, and all that stuff on his social medias. You find him on YouTube and all the other places that you can find music on. Thank you, guys. All right, Kevin, back to your story, man. We'll kind of start talking a little bit more about, you obviously hit your rock bottom. Now we're going to talk about how you kind of found yourself getting out of it. We do know that you talked about carrying your book around and stuff like that. And I imagine, bro, like, so you were under getting, you still had a lot of things hanging over your head, right? That could have kind of kept you in the depths, man. I mean, getting a dishonorable discharge or any of that kind of stuff, that would usually a lot of times continuously break someone, not, a lot of time I've never really seen a lot of people who get that and then come out and they're like shining, or they're realizing things and stopping. So I would love to hear, how you were able to kind of stay or get yourself going in a better direction.
When I had a mentor at that time, and the concern, my fear was getting a dishonorable discharge. And I remember I spoke to him. I'm like, dude, but if I get a dishonorable discharge, then what? Like, my whole life is that's worse than a felony. I won't be able to do anything. And he was like, he basically said, shut the F up and pray about it. And I'm like, the hell? So I just prayed about it. I'm like, and every time it would come up, I would just pray about it. And I remember the same Sergeant Graham that woke me up with the breathalyzer in my face when I showed up the formation. We were all getting orders to go overseas or go do training. Like, we were all getting orders to be dispersed because at that time they had did some revamping in our in the region. And so I was the last name on the roster, and Sergeant Graham was like, Odom. And I'm like, yes, Sergeant. He was like, you're no longer in the military. Have a good day. And I'm like, the hell? So I asked him, I'm like, well, I need to figure out like what my damn discharge status, like what all of that stuff was. And
so boom, it was just like that, bro. Like, that's how you found out. Like,
that's how I found out I was discharged. And so, yeah. And so, like, there was no transition, like there was no help, there was none of that. Right now, nobody saw the work that I was doing. Like, nobody saw any of that. They just was like, dude, you are no longer fit. Like, the people who I had surrounded, who I was serving with, they done disassociated and want nothing to do, because in their eyes, I'm a hopeless drug addict and drunk, and I ain't never going to get any better. And reality when I, fast forward to, back to the formation deal, Sergeant Graham, I think, or it was somebody else, like, yeah, you got a general under honorable conditions. That was my discharge status. VA was never there.
That's a much better than a dishonorable there. That's awesome.
100%. I mean, it's better than other than honorable. Is better than anything else at all. I mean, to get a general under honorable conditions, I mean, I'll take that. It was almost equivalent to from my interpretation, and I'm not an expert at it, but it's almost to the same thing as like a medical discharge on how everything was written up for me, because it listed drug, substance use, like it listed the statutes, the general military statutes, whatever, which I'm fine with. I don't, but I still never let how those folks treated me while I was in the service, right? Like, because in that time, like, okay, your substance use disorder, get the hell out of the military. Oh, you got a mental health diagnosis, get the hell out of the military type stuff. That was the big thing back then.
If you're broken, if we can't use you anymore, you're worthless.
Unfit for service.
Right. No, 100%. I mean, and so now what I know to be true today is you're not broken. Like, you just have a substance use disorder that is untreated, is untreated substance use, or it's untreated addiction. What I know to be true is that. And so am I grateful that I served? 100%. Do I regret things that I did? 100%.
So what did they give you other than honorable, or what did you end up
other than honorable?
It was general under honorable conditions.
Got you. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, so that's even different. So those are two different things. There's other than honorable, and then general under honorable conditions. Those are two separate ones. So you got the better one. Awesome.
Yes, that's the better one for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm so sorry. I was just gonna ask, as you're getting out, is this kind of what influenced this journey into mental health, as you're seeing your own addiction and your own mental health struggles with all of this stuff? Is that kind of what ballooned you into mental health, or did it still take years to get into the mental health journey?
I mean, it took years because you got to have education. So, but I had knew when I met the guy at that treatment program who was a therapist, I knew like what I was going to do. Like, I knew immediately in that moment when I heard him, and I'm like, shit, you did that shit too, bro. Like, in that moment, like there was no other clear sign. Like, I knew that I was going to be a therapist. I knew that I took the steps to be a substance use therapist. Only reason I have the mental health license because most states does not recognize the addiction license as a standalone independent practitioner license. So I have to have the mental health license for certain things. But it took years to get into the field, because you have to get an undergrad, you have to go get a master's, and then start, of course, get your license, go through all of that other stuff. Did I want to at that moment? 100%. I had so many people around me were telling me at that moment, even still doing all of this, you're not good enough. You're never going to stay sober. You're never going to be a therapist. You're never going to do this. You're never going to do that. You're worthless. You might as well just go basically put a bullet in my head and just go ahead and call it quits in life. I mean, that was the only thing they didn't tell me, but it pretty much was equivalent to. And today it's a complete different ball game. I serve a lot of the veteran community. I serve a lot of the homeless. I serve people who are, if I'm triggering anybody who's listening, people who were recently raped, whether you're male or female. I serve LGBTQs. I serve the rich, the poor, the women, men, doesn't matter, whatever country you're from. I've served people that, it was about the longest assessment I ever had was an individual that was from somewhere across the way over there, and 99% of the population spoke a language, and he was part of the 0.001% who spoke a complete different language. English is not a direct translation, so it literally was a 5 hour assessment because of the lack of. So like I've served many people from all over the world today, uh and so I didn't, regardless of a dishonorable discharge or other than honorable or whether I'm still in or not, the military told me when I had the board review, they said there was a medical doctor and about four other cats up there in DC. They said, Odom, we can put you in, like we can write you in right now. You don't even need a recruiter. We can just reinstate you at this moment. And so they sat back and looked at me. They were like, but here's what I have to question my conscience about. If I reinstate you right now, I have to take I have to question whether it is going to be beneficial to put you across the waterway over yonder, or and put a stop to this path that you're on and that you're going, or do I just not put you back in until you not join back in and have you continue down this path? Because he was like, you will be able. He basically was saying you'll be in a better position to serve more and do more benefit.
Getting out of the military.
Continuing to the educational and the career that I'm in. And that I had that board review in 20. I think it was around 2015. I had that board review. So I was out in 2012. The board review was in 2015, and if you got a panel of like 7 people saying the same thing.
So I think that's incredible, because that is not a norm. Okay, that is not a norm. Most people, that are doing that kind of stuff are like, no, we need bodies. But they didn't see you as a body in that moment. They saw you as an individual, and they knew that the military, even though, you learned some good lessons, the military wasn't healthy for you. And they knew that. They saw that, because you would have gone down a different path. And so I think that's incredible that that was definitely a God moment there, because any other board people would not be like, oh, hey, you're going to do better out of the military, actually like doing better, not just like, oh, we don't want you, but like actually saying, hey, you're going to do better out. I think that's incredible.
Yeah, and I don't know if I would say it's the military. I think it's the culture of the military. Is that?
Yeah, that's.
I think
I'm just saying for him individually.
That's why for him the struggle was more of like being around the culture. Yeah. But the training that you get from it is, it could be great. It's just that when you're around a whole bunch of other people, that's the hard part. And I imagine that when, he got introduced coke, it was one of his other buddies doing some coke. You know what I mean? And or I don't know if you were the guy that's like, hey, I got the bag. I don't know where where you fell at in that part. But I mean, I got to imagine that, they were thinking in their head too. And it's wild that they even thought about it, like Marie said, because they actually looked at you more of a human being than at your social security number. Like, we need this body to fill a quota, because them to even put that thought of like, well, shit, is it even going to be good for you as a person? It's wild to me that they even put that into perspective, which whoever that leader was a really good leader and really knew what the fuck they were doing, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And I'm grateful. Like, I can go get I think they just upped the age to 42 or 45.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They've definitely moved it up.
Right. I can go easily go get a recruiter, get back in, do all of the other good stuff. But I still stuck on what the board review said. And where's my purpose?
Yeah.
I can serve much more people doing what I'm doing now. Now I can go easily go get a job doing HR work or doing therapy work or whatever in the military, or indirectly with the military. But that's still going to limit me, because I'm going to be working with only people. And so now in my capacity, I serve not just, one population. I serve anybody who needs help.
So let me ask you this real quick, because I wrote
sometimes
this
we're
down.
on same wavelengths.
Yeah, I wrote this down, and I was wondering, like, you have to deal with all kinds of walks of life, right? You,
Yeah.
you deal with, every type of genre that's out there, right? Of walks of life. I imagine for you, right? That you really, we talked about this on the show before, is about having to be diverse as an advocate, right? And you really have to kind of drop away your opinions, your feelings about like how you feel about certain areas, because you're going to be dealing with folks from all walks of life, right? People that maybe when you were younger, they used to make fun of them, or you used to call them names or whatever. But now that you're in this position where you got to kind of deal with all kinds of walks of life, how have you been able to kind of handle that, man? I mean that's really hard, I think, for some people that are in advocacy, right? Because they're so tribal towards their feelings that sometimes their feelings trump the actual being the advocate, and then it's not really doing a disservice. You're like, well, I'm an advocate, but I'm only for these kind of people, right? And then you're like, well, if you're this kind of person and you have this kind of problem, the same problem, I don't want to deal with you. That I feel like has happened even in our community. So how have you allowed yourself to kind of just be more of a open book to anybody and everybody, all walks of life, and not really, because you just said, man, you serve pretty much just about all walks of life. So I imagine,
So,
like I said, it's got to be hard.
well, to some people, yeah. To me, I don't feel like it's that difficult. Two things. My code of ethics, and I have, you can dissect all of them, you can dissect just one of them, it doesn't matter. I have more than one code of ethics, right? My code of ethics says that my personal opinion is null and void, basically, and it's got a whole long drawn out, but essentially it's null and void in a and I have to acknowledge that I do have personal values and opinions and beliefs or what have you. uh but when I'm working with the individual and I'm in that type of capacity, it becomes null and void, right?
It doesn't matter what you feel, you are
Right.
there for that person.
Right. And then number two is when I signed my name to the dotted line at the state, right? When I went to go do all of these, get all these things behind my name, it was still one of those, it says that, by signing your name, you agree to provide a service to the public without regard to race, sex, so on and so forth. Right. Those two things. And then number three is, and this is really what it sums up, and I've used this as an example. But if you are in a position and you have a rapist in front of you, right? This was in my abnormal psychology book. This was at the very beginning, and I remember this. When you have a rapist in front of you, you have to provide services. What do you do? Do you let and it took a very gruesome case scenario just to make you really think. And for me, I don't agree with raping people, right? I don't agree with pedophilia. I don't agree with, having to pull a trigger on a child or anything of that sort. But I've dealt with many different things that you will be like, yeah, that's a huge moral no-no. Whether it's military who's having to harm, children or not, like it doesn't matter. So I'm using any moral injury here. And for me, if I like, you have a person, like we're all people, we all need help, regardless of what their background, what the crime, what have you is. Now, is my specialty in working with, certain populations? I specialize with substance use disorders. So with that comes, a lot of traumas.
A lot of other traumas, right? Yeah.
Right, right. And I've had to do child reporting. I've had CPS reporting. I've had to do APS reporting.
Because you are a mandated reporter too, right? Because of your position, you are mandated to report anything that's beyond its scope.
Yeah.
So I have a question on that, but I wanted to make a comment real quick too. And I know I'm interrupting you, but the comment that I wanted to make was the thing that I've learned in becoming an advocate and being in recovery myself and meeting so many different types of people. And I'm guessing you have the same mentality, is there are no evil people. There are only evil acts based on trauma responses.
Right. No,
And
100.
when you're in that advocacy realm, you can't look at the person as a bad person. You can definitely condemn their actions, but they are not an evil person because that doesn't exist. We are all reacting to our own experiences and our own traumas. So there are most definitely evil acts. And so I love that that's kind of where you're going. And that's kind of the best way that I've learned how to word it. There are only evil acts based on trauma responses. And so it seems like you have developed that. Now, the question that I have is being in recovery myself, when you're working the 12 steps, right? And you're talking about some really heavy, hard things. Okay. I know that there is a lot of things that we have to, that we're being honest with. How do you, and this is going to be interesting, and I've been curious to talk to a therapist about this. Okay. As a person in recovery yourself and as a therapist, how hard is it to ride that balance of holding on to somebody's confidence in recovery and that mandatory reporting? So if you understand what I'm saying, so you're holding two hats. You're holding on to one as a person in recovery, and so I'm assuming that people will do fifth steps with you and tell you stuff that they've never told anybody. But then you also have this this therapist side where you are a mandatory reporting. How do you hold that line with holding someone's confidence and also reporting what you have to?
Because
And what would you say to somebody who is struggling with, I don't know, I have to share this with somebody. I'm afraid I'm going to get in trouble. So what's your advice on that too?
so couple of experiences here. I met a guy years ago. Great guy, phenomenal guy. And I mean, I could call him a friend, right? Like he's a great dude. He's probably relapsed a time or two, but that's neither here nor there. I ain't worried about that. But I mean, to me, he's a great dude. I mean, somebody that you would love to have him build your house. Like he's like, I mean, I trust the guy. I got nothing bad to say about the dude. And he asked me to speak for him, to be a speaker for him one day. And he asked me while I was on the job. And I said, man, if you would have asked me off the job, I could have said yes, but you asked me while I'm on duty. And so when it comes to CPS reporting, anything that I hear about in my personal life, like if it's recovery related, to me, like that is a fifth step. That is not a CPS report. Or that is you call it fifth step, you call it, somebody wanting to give a testimony or what have you. And so it's two different roles there.
So you have to be careful of which hat you're wearing and when.
Right. Because now
you put your hat on when you're clocking into work, right? And so I think, at that moment, but it's if you're at your buddy's house at a barbecue and he starts kind of saying, hey man, I got to talk to you about some stuff, because obviously I think at that level, some people might start to feel uncomfortable around you. And I think that's kind of where Marie is. How do you kind of keep that line open to people so they're not like, God, if I say this to this dude, he's going to go fucking rat me out, or, he's a snitch, or, you might get that label on you. So I think that, I think what Marie was kind of saying is, how are you able to kind of maintain that balance? I imagine it's got to be hard with some folks that have lack of trust.
Not really, because if I'm on the job, I'm on the job. I'm getting paid to be a therapist, not to be in, you can't pay for recovery. You see what I'm saying? If I'm at, Marie's house and you're over there and you tell me something about this, that, and a third, so on and so forth, I mean, you're telling me this basically, similarly in a recovery setting. And I don't mean like recovery setting where I'm getting paid, like you're doing a fifth step, like that would truly betray the confidence and competence. And AA is not a professional organization, right? Or, Team Challenge or whatever, right? Like all of these recovery programs that are, out for recovery are not professional organizations. They are personal, nonprofit things, right? AA is a nonprofit
Yeah.
thing. I think it's a 501c3. So that's not a professional organization. It's a complete different situation, complete different circumstance. I've heard some of the stuff that in the recovery rooms, it would, get people to lose their kids almost immediately. I mean, as soon as you make a phone call to CPS, they're at your front door 2 minutes later.
Or in jail.
Right. And it's like,
It's like, oh, you got away with what? Yeah.
right. Let me go ahead and call real quick.
Yeah.
Right. So it's one of those.
Speed dial.
Yeah. Yo, Siri, I need you to call. Right. So, I mean, if another therapist, and somebody who's in recovery is struggling with that, like for me, man, it just goes back to the idea of, am I getting paid to be a therapist in that moment? And is this recovery, and is this a recovery type of situation I'm in? Like if I'm talking to you one-on-one, you see what I'm saying? That's like my sponsor or mentor calling, CPS on me or APS or what have you on me for something that happened 30,000 years ago. I mean, if that were to be the case, then we wouldn't have, recovery programs that are set up.
So I love that you are, touching base on that kind of stuff. For those of you who are listening who may not be in recovery, and recovery is trauma and addictions, right? There are recovery programs that are not for addictions. They're for codependency. They're for mental health stuff. And you can do a 12 steps on anything. I have done it for drugs, alcohol, sex, food. I've done it on everything, codependency. Okay. A fifth step, what it is in the first step, I'm powerless over whatever it is. Second one, there's a power that can help me. Third one, I'm going to ask that power to help me. So that's the first three. The fourth one is taking a personal inventory of yourself, the good, bad, and the ugly. Some people get really scared of it because they're like, oh, I can't talk about this, or they get real depressed, but you're looking for good, bad, and ugly. And it's just like fact finding, kind of like when you're looking in your pantry and you say, oh, I've got stuff that's expired, I need to throw it away. It's not, oh, damn, I can't believe that you're expired, this is so horrible. No, it's a fact finding mission. And you say, okay, what is my part in this? It might just be that I'm holding on to this bad can and I'm being fearful because I don't want to throw it away. That might be the only thing that's my part. And so you're just kind of saying, okay, here is the inventory, and also what is my part in it. And so a fifth step is when you're talking to somebody about that. And so the importance of that fifth step in recovery is that you have someone that you can trust, and it stays between you and them. And so, yeah, there are people, I know that there are ethics, and a lot of people in in therapy try not to go to meetings in their local area. They try to go to other meetings just so, if they run into somebody that they're a patient, that patient doesn't feel uncomfortable. But it's good for you that you're explaining, and this is why I wanted you to bring it up, is that when you see, if you have somebody who's in therapy or one of your doctors and they're in these recovery rooms, it is anonymous for a reason. They are there to be just another sick mofo helping you out. And so don't be scared to go talk to them in there. If that's person that you feel like you can trust, they are there for themselves as much as they are for you. So thank you for being willing to be open about this.
So now, Kevin, we've gotten obviously a lot of training and education towards this. Now, has that been the most instrumental part in, being an advocate, or is some of it you just having to apply your own experiences to it as well? Or is it a little bit of a combo of each? I mean, really, what's kind of helped you hone in on your skill?
And also along that, sorry, I'm adding on to his thing.
I do it too. So.
Also, what trainings do you have on a professional level? We've talked a lot about the recovery level. What you said you've got a lot of letters behind your name, right? What are the letters? What are your in the professional side? What is your role? There we go.
So first off, anybody who wants to be a therapist, I encourage them to get a master's degree that is CACREP accredited, CACREP. They are there are master programs out there that are accredited in addiction. Like I don't mean school accreditation. I mean programmatic accreditation. There are two different things. There's 5 regional school accrediting bodies, but then you have programmatic accreditation. So you'll have like business admin programs that are accredited by a certain body. Counseling programs are accredited. Social work, APA is a big one for doctoral level psychology programs. So master's level or social work, a master's in social work, one of those areas for that is accredited. And then, of course, you'll do your practicum, your internship, all of that other good stuff. And then for your training, just whatever you want to specialize in. I'm gonna give you a generalized, idea here. So, like for me, most of my training, anytime I need CEUs or continuing education, even for my mental health license, most of it goes back to trauma, suicide, and substance use. Those 3 areas is where I hone my training at, and I've been doing that since I came in the field. Yeah,
Is
people
that because that is what you have the most experience in with yourself?
um, yes and no. I knew when I started school what I wanted to do. So like I'm not an eating disorder person, so I don't do any trainings on eating disorders. There's trainings out there. I don't specialize in eating disorders. Um, I kind of fell into trauma and suicide just because, trauma and suicide and substance use really go hand in hand. And
Okay.
so because of that, and I work on a crisis unit or inpatient behavioral health unit. So the suicidality piece really, goes hand in hand with that. And so like anything in that area, that's kind of where I throw my hat at. So I don't care if it's a veterans and substance use, veterans and trauma, veterans and suicidality, veterans and sexual abuse, like anything related to those 3 areas of the field is where I do my training at. And for the most part, like any board that I am paneled with will accept the training. So you can hone in your skills and wherever. For me, I think it goes back to the substance use for sure goes back to my history there. Um, but the trauma and the suicide, I kind of just fell into it, and how I fell into that was serving veteran patients early on, and I'm like, well, shit, how do I work with this person? So instead of asking your clinical supervisor questions all the time, you just do some training, and yeah. Like last year, I think I did, or the last 2-year period that I had to do my substance use, like all of my training, ended up having over 300 hours of training for a 2-year period. And in North Carolina, our board says we need only 40 hours of training of continuing education. I did over 300.
Wow.
And most of them were not accepted because they might not have had like let's say they might not have had MBCC or certain bodies, to accredit them or give or approve the education, but at least it was still, I do a lot of training that is given out by the VA. Those are accepted. APA is accepted. MBCC is accepted. So there's some trainings I'll do just for the heck of it. And it's like, I don't care if if it's going to be approved or not. I'm doing it because maybe this is a struggle of mine and at this moment, or maybe because of, hey, maybe did I miss something? Or hey, it's interesting because it builds on to.
I love that you are not just a numbers guy. This is what's required. I have to do this, A, B, and C. And you're like, nah, screw that. Let's go all the way to Z and let's learn all of this stuff that's open. I have seen Kevin do some really awesome things. And I have seen, some of his advocacy and his posts that just, is just so fantastic. He really does care for people as an individual. And it's beautiful that, the trainings that you do kind of like show that. You're like, well, here's this that might help somebody. It's not something they'll accept. I don't care. This is something that might help somebody. I'm going to do this anyway. And I love that you're doing that.
Well, no, and I appreciate that. But if you think about it, right, and if there's any providers or people who are in healthcare watching y'all show, I say this to the top of my lungs. Over 75% of Americans say the same damn thing. They are failed by the current healthcare system. Well, if that be the case, that's not what I say. That's not anything that I say. That is what current healthcare system says in the current, so that's approximately 300 million US residents, right? If that be the case, then how can we continue to let health continue to go into run headfirst into a situation that's continuing to fail us? You have, and when you split that number down, right, you have unaffordable health care. I'm treated like a number. You don't care. I'm just treated like a insurance dollar sign, right? I'm treated like all of these things. I would be stupid if I worked in healthcare and I had anybody who worked under me and said that we have a great healthcare system. I would fire the hell out of them because they are stupid as hell. They are absolutely uneducated. And okay, that's not including the VA system. When you add the VA system in there, that number goes up probably to anywhere between 85 to 90%. And the reason being is because of, well, number one is it's a full socialized system. And I get it. We need socialized medicine. Healthcare in, the US needs to be socialized to a large degree. But we need to be able to provide, instead of quantitative care, we need to be able to jump back and slingshot back over here, at least some, to qualitative care.
Yeah, so, because what they did is they've made a pill for everything. I don't know how many, I don't know how many commercials I see on here about mental health pills, right? Or they literally just keep making every different type of pill, and that's the thing. And then if you go look at all the side effects that come along with those, even when they're giving people for mental health, it may cause suicidal thoughts. I mean, that's where it's like, it's crazy how much medicine has really gotten convoluted. Instead of helping people, it looks like it's starting to almost throw other people into more of a tailspin.
No, 100%. Like, so I was just talking about this the other day, right? Because it's a pill for every damn meal, and I disagree with that shit, right? So I am one of the loudest advocates that is against the damn brain disease model of addiction, and I'm gonna tell you why. Okay, I'm gonna tell you 100% why. And because I'll have healthcare, I'll have people who will tell me, "Well, you work in healthcare, and you just so against the brain disease. You're just so uneducated." Okay, let's figure it out. Okay, if the brain disease model of addiction truly fit, right? How come, and I'm gonna ask a series of questions here, right? How come 90% of the nicotine receptors are neck down? How come most of the serotonin is centrally located in the GI system, right? How come when the endorphins are released, now, okay, endorphins, I will say, part of the brain, most of them are centrally located here, but when they are released, because they are activated by heroin, morphine, tramadol, opiates, whatever opiate you want to use, they are released throughout the entire body. Most of the CB receptors that cannabis, attaches to is neck down, right? They are located all throughout the body, right? And okay, that's number one. Okay, number two is, that's my first argument against it. Number two is, the brain disease model is the only theory that we have ever applied in modern medicine, modern healthcare. And this is what pisses me off. We've only taken this one theory and have applied it to the whole entire population of substance use disorders. Okay, I get that. No other theory fits for any other diagnosis, whether you're bipolar, borderline, cancer, leukemia, lupus, or what have you. Right. And then number three, most importantly, is since we've been talking about since the late 70s or 80s or whenever, I think it was around that time when it was deemed a brain disease, right? Oh, yes, the brain disease because of this, that, and the third, so on and so forth. Has addiction gotten better or has it gotten worse? It's only gotten worse, in my opinion, and what I can see. Because if you go down Kensington Avenue in Philly, and I've driven down it, it's absolutely devastatingly horrible and horrendous, and it's terrible. It does not fit. It does not work. And most importantly, number four, I think it's number four, maybe five now. Do you know how many patients and people, I'm going to say people, I don't want to use the word patients. Do you know how many people I have been able to help get sober and change their lives on the brain disease model of addiction? Take a wild guess. 0.
1,000.
0. Right. Now, let's factor in the existential philosophy.
Don't ever guess again.
No, I know. I was being sarcastic.
I know.
But now existential philosophy talks about, if you look at Urban Yalom, Viktor Frankl, and all of those beautiful, amazing fathers of, because they're so phenomenal at what they do. You talking about death, anxiety, meaninglessness, right? Hopelessness, all of those things. And when you start working in that, that's where I've been able to actually effectively make change with people, and to be able to help people make effective change in their lives.
That's what I was just going to ask you, can you kind of explain a little bit more about the different model that you encourage? So you were talking about this existential stuff and whatnot. So we know, me and you and other people in recovery know that when we're learning about addiction and mental health, it is a mind, body, spirit. It's not just, whatever the addiction is what we are using as our solution. Codependency, alcoholism, drugs, sex, and food, right? Those are the main ones. Okay. They aren't the problem. They are the solution that we are using for our internal problem. And, the drink, I take a drink, the drink takes a drink, the drink takes me. And so it becomes a problem once it is your only solution. So as we're talking about that, it is this mind, body, spirit. It's not, the brain is not the only that's not the solution, just telling people that that's what it is. So as we are getting ready to close off, can you just kind of explain a little bit more what the better solution is in your mindset, and how you encourage that with your patients and with your comrades in recovery? How do you explain that best?
Well, I couldn't have said it any better than you. It's a multitude of issues here. And I'm gonna take what my buddy Jay said. I was about to call him by his whole government name, Jar Michael, but he goes by Jay. He was on my show the other day, Friday, I think it was. And he talks about, we can treat the tree or we can treat the soil. And if we treat the tree, the soil's still going to be there. We ain't doing nothing effective, right? And so if you look at current healthcare, the state of the healthcare system, right, across the board, and I'm generalize here, it's not like that across every sector, but I'm a generalize. Most of the healthcare is treating the tree, a pill for every damn ill. And I think they missed a part that, or maybe they don't miss it, and maybe it's completely their choice. A sick patient means more money versus a well patient means no money. And so for me, I take my primary is existentialism, but I also mix it with dialectical behavioral therapy. I mix it with, many other things, narrative therapy, traditional storytelling, which goes back to the native people and, early ancient civilization. All they had was storytelling. So I use a lot of different, modalities to help create effectively change and qualitative change at that, not just a data point, as you were saying earlier, right? It's about quality care, because I don't want that patient to come back and see me. And I say that, and somebody might think I'm cruel over that. No, like, I am a therapist. If I can help you get well, I don't need you anymore. You need to use your resources. I am here when you need me. If you're
you want them to find a better solution.
Right.
Yep.
If you do not need to spend the next 20 years with me, right? Unless you're severe psychopathology. That's one thing, schizophrenia. Okay. We're not talking about, I'm talking on a general level here. But it's like cancer. You cure cancer, and then after the first couple of years, your doctor releases you. Same thing with substance use disorders. And
you come back if there's a recurrence, but you learn how to live your life without it. Yeah.
Right. And it's the same thing with recovery. Once you get into recovery, utilize your resources, because I am not going to hold your hand 24/7. I'm not here to. I'm not required to. That's number one. Number two is I'm not going to.
And you can't. And you just can't, bro. I mean, you don't have enough hands to hold, you know.
Right.
So if you were holding everybody's hand, you'd be fucking more than an octopus. You know what I mean? So,
Right. So that's the answer to your question. Is it's the utilization of multiple angles to help effect change within the individual and help to start that connection with oneself again. And that's the
Yeah,
most
because I imagine that's got to be one of the harder parts, you know, when you're on that side of being a therapist, counselor, things like that. All you could do is put tools in this person's toolboxes, right? You cannot go and use the tools for them and go fix the problems. They have to learn how to use these tools, right? And you're just there as that instructor. Here's this tool. Here's how you use it. And, you know, it takes that individual to pick that tool up and to go use that tool, right?
Yep.
And that's the other part. I think a lot of people want someone else to carry the tool, you know, go fix the, you know, use the tool and go fix the problem for them, right? I think a lot of us, well, I went to the therapist and they didn't fix my problem. You know, it's not their problem to fix, you know, and they didn't have a problem before you came in, right? They're not going to have a problem after you leave.
Right.
So I heard something the other day, and I thought it was so funny. You know, you've got all these GLPs, the stuff to help people lose weight and suppress their hunger and this, that, and the other. And somebody made the comment, you know, we are treating a broken food system. We are sorry. I can't remember how exactly it was worded, but it was like, why are we giving this easy pill out instead of addressing the actual problem? Maybe there's
Yeah.
something that we need to address with food and food addiction and the unhealthy food and stuff like that. Why are we not working on the system? Why are we just giving the same thing, just a quick, easy fix, a pill?
Yeah. And not to mention all the side effects that are going to happen, right? This is still fairly new to a lot of folks.
Yes.
You know, and wait 10, 15, 20 years from now,
Yeah.
when everybody's having all the problems because they use some kind of a blocker or something like that. Now their bodies they don't even know how to take in nutrients and stuff like that. We're going off topic, but
yeah, I know. But I was just
know,
going to say it's very similar, you know, when we're talking recovery, and we could go off and Kevin, I would love to have you back on here at some point, because there are some rabbit holes that I think Brian and I would love to go down with you. But like the thought process that went into my head, you know, just look at stuff like Suboxone and stuff like that. That was supposed to be a quick fix to help people get off of drugs, and then they become addicted to that, you know. And so it's like the
that's their new
reality
drug.
and everything that
Yeah.
Kevin is saying is like, hey, we need to stop just addressing the symptom. We need to continue working on the internal and finding a better solution. And Kevin, you are doing that, and I think that it is beautiful. And this has been such an amazing conversation, and we could go on for hours and hours and hours. We want you back on. We want you to come back on and talk a little bit more about your doing. And it's such an honor to have been able to get to know you over this last year and this, just watch what you are doing and the amazingness you are doing. How can people contact you if they have any questions? How can they find your podcast? And is there
Let's
any
talk about
last
that
minute
podcast
things?
for a second.
Yeah.
So the name of the podcast is One Moment Podcast. We're on 45 different platforms. I think last time I looked at it, I think we've touched 54 countries last time I calculated. And so that includes all major social media and mostly minor social media too. And so of course, if you find that podcast, if you Google that, then you'll find me too. So I'm also on social media myself. Have a personal page on Facebook and a personal page on LinkedIn, and I still share all of the content there too. So
his name is Kevin Odom, KEVIN ODOM. ODOM.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, and it's a podcast on mental health, substance use, suicide awareness, suicide prevention, women's issues, LGBTQ issues, minority issues, community. I mean, just I can keep
Covers
going.
it all, man. Yeah.
Eating disorders is a huge one. I think we've got a couple of episodes on that from different people. So
Now, is your podcast just open up to anybody that struggles with all the above, or have you guys kind of honed in? Do you guys focus on, you know, veterans, non-veterans, or what is your guys platform run on?
I mean, we've got it. I mean, it's just across the board. Anybody who,
Yep, good, nice.
yeah. So we've done some on we've got two people who, two shows. He's a DEA agent. He's been on. Got a law enforcement from retired law enforcement.
I wonder if it's Brian
the same.
Townsend. Brian,
It's
okay.
the same. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So we've done some veteran related. We've done like it's across the board.
Outstanding.
Yeah. We've done on how Canada's healthcare laws or healthcare system sucks. I mean, we got one up there where we compared the two U.S. and Canada. Randy was her name, I think it was. She was phenomenal. I love her to death.
Some of our guests have also been on Kevin's show as well. And so the podcast community, especially those of us veterans who podcast, whether it's a veteran podcast or not, but we share a lot of our resources. But yeah, Kevin has interviewed some amazing, amazing people, and his co-host Trevor, shout out to you, Trevor. What's up? You know, he is amazing too. He is he used to be a corrections officer and just an amazing guy. And they just delve into all sorts of mental health issues and substance abuse and healing and recovery from trauma and addictions. And it's beautiful to see what they're
doing.
How
long have you guys, this real quick, how long have you guys been doing it? And how often do you guys, what's your frequency on when you release?
So we do live every Wednesday and every Friday.
Nice.
And then of course it might take me a month or two to even go through and kind of do a thumbnail and edit or whatever. So
yeah.
I mean, well, and so like that's unfortunate and fortunate. I'm in school and I work, and so and then I had surgery, so that put me down. So like I did, you know.
Oh, hold on. Kevin donated his kidney.
Wow.
Thank you. So yeah, that was on February the 26th. And
way to break the HIPAA law.
Yeah.
And tomorrow.
No, he's been pretty public about it. So I didn't break his HIPAA. He's been pretty public about it, and it's beautiful. It's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. And you ought to see the picture. It's on social media too. And then get this, tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 3 p.m. whatever California time is. Glenda Benavides, who was Grammy nominated last year, she's going for another Grammy this year. She is debuting her new song, I Ride. And it's absolutely a beautiful song. We're going to be doing it live on her platform, her social media, YouTube and Facebook, and then of course on my channels too. And that'll be tomorrow. Yep.
So this episode won't air for a couple months. So let them know.
Go back and watch it.
Is. Yeah. What date will that be so they can go back
tomorrow,
and watch it?
July the 2nd.
July 2nd. Okay.
July the 2nd, 2026.
Yep.
Outstanding. Well, Kevin, man, we like Marie said, we appreciate you being on, bro. And I love hearing the stories of when people become advocacies. You know, they went through some shit. They care enough to keep going on for others so others don't have to go through it. And that's a very selfless act, bro. And I just want you to know, if no one tells you enough, bro, you're doing amazing. And you just keep doing what you're doing, brother. And you're going to make a big difference, you know, and whether you feel it or you don't, bro, I feel it from your vibes and everything else, man, that you care about humanity in general. So we thank you so much, bro, for your selfless acts and your service to our country and what you're still doing to this day. Thank you so much, bro.
Yeah, you are amazing, and you've already made a difference in my life. And I know Brian now, you know, now that he's gotten to know you, and you are just doing some fantastic things, and just so very grateful for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Keep being that light. Thank you, man. Whew. All right, friends and family, that was amazing. And I just want to say this again. because it is important. Your story matters. Everybody's stories matter. You know, I think that sometimes people feel that because maybe they didn't do X, Y, and Z, they don't feel that their story is it's insignificant. That's furthest from the truth for this show. This show is very open to all walks of life. We want everybody to experience, what it's like to be able to heal out loud. And I'm telling you, the weight that takes off of you is amazing, and that's why I think you see Marie and myself, we continue to do this. And like I said, Kevin is a prime example. He heard a story about someone else talking about their own story, and it hit home to him. There was so much relevance there that he was like, boom. And that changed his whole trajectory. So don't forget, if you have the courage to come out and tell your story, come out and tell it. And if you don't, email it to us. We'll gladly take an opportunity to read your story out loud so someone else can hear it. And you don't even have to give us your name. You can be completely anonymous. And I just actually did a video about this, and I'm going to keep doing it until we start getting people submitting, because we haven't gotten any submissions yet. But I'm waiting for that first one. So be that one. And let's set a precedent for everybody to make them feel comfortable to heal out loud and tell their stories, and give them that platform. But Marie, thank you so much. Is there anything you want to say before we head out?
Thank you guys so much for just sticking with us. Again, it's been fun to kind of hear out in the wild that people are starting to listen to us, and it's wonderful. And I'm so very grateful. Brian, you got this thing started about 4 years ago, and Brian and I have been working together for the last year, and it's just grown into some amazing things. So thank you for supporting us. Check out sliderbabe.com to get a link to our newest episodes. We've got an episode airing every week, and the way that we do it is it usually airs on a Monday on audio on all of our platforms, and then we'll do a live premiere, pre-recorded. I've got to say that. Yes. Pre-recorded live premiere on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. So just check us out, sliderbabe.com. Come and come join our show and heal out loud.
Absolutely. And don't forget, if you want to be on the show, it is as easy as 1, 2, 3. And Marie and I are very chill, and it becomes more of a conversation, not so pressured as like a interview where we have a whole bunch of questions lined up for you. And we do interrupt a lot, because it does become kind of a conversation, or we see a moment where like, oh, we really need to elaborate on this and show everybody this good, learning moment type thing. So I do appreciate everybody that bears with us, because I know sometimes we interrupt our guests, and I'm sure you're over there like, gosh, let them talk already, and but if you've been with us, you get what you get, and we don't really we're raw as you can come. There's no editing out of anything, so we do make our little mistakes. But anyhow, once again, if you want to be on the show, email Marie at sliderbabe.com. Go to sliderbabe.com. There's a link you can go. We are pretty well booked out, right? And but don't let that be, a hindrance to you going on. There could be a chance that we start pulling things to the left at some point in time, depending on where our growth takes us. And if we need to start bringing, 2 shows in at a time to kind of get it out there, then that's what we'll do. Whatever it takes to get all these stories out there. We don't want anybody to feel that they can't tell their story. Right. Yep. So don't let anything stop you, whether you need us to read it, you want us to make a video out of it, whatever it may be. We'll think of a clever way to get everybody's story out there, whether they come on as a guest or they just shoot us that email. All right, we'll go ahead and see y'all. And don't forget to check us out on all the major platforms. Saturdays, we do release on Facebook. and you will see that live there. It's 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's a pre-recorded show. Sometimes Marie and I will show up. We'll be there in the comments. Sometimes we're not. But yeah, if you want to check us out, go subscribe, free 99 to all the different platforms. We'll see you all in the next one. Don't let the day kick your ass. Make sure you're out there kicking it. All right.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.